Please remember that the Lucy Pod is not a replacement for professional medical advice. If you have questions or concerns about your own amazing brain, please speak to a medical professional. I'd also like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which I speak to you all today, the peoples of the Kulin Nation. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Lucy Pod. I hope that you are all well and are staying safe. Today I have a guest joining me to talk about all things ADHD. Please welcome Kate to the pod. Hi Kate, how are you?
Hi, I'm very excited to be here.
So excited to have you. So Kate, tell us about yourself, plug your Instagram, tell us about what you do, who you are and your interests.
Excellent. Well, I am Kate Paulin. I am a holistic depth coach. And what that basically means is that I help people go really deep into their inside world in order to help them change their outside world. And the way that I kind of came into this is I discovered a couple years ago I'm autistic and I'm ADHD. And learning that about myself just like opened up this entire new world of possibility for me. And it gave me really like permission to like, I don't know, embrace like things that aren't just quirks, right? Like things that are like innately actually a part of myself. And now there's something of an explanation for them. And like just getting to learn that about myself made me want to help other people get to know themselves more. And so I have a company that I founded within the past like 8 months that is called Follow the Dopamine. It's a holistic coaching company.
Such a good name.
Thank you. And it's because it's my permission to myself to follow the dopamine, to do what interests me and not what I feel like society expects of me. So
I love that. So thank you for sharing that. So a thing that I do with my guests before we like get into the meat of the interview is I ask them a series of questions to get them warmed up. So the first one is, when were you diagnosed with ADHD?
So that was a couple years ago at 38. And it actually was a couple of months after the autism, like realizing the autism. And it was learning, like, I remember talking to my therapist and it was learning about how the hyperactivity, like, I always thought that hyperactivity means you can't sit in your seat. So because I could sit in my seat, like, therefore it can't be ADHD. And, you know, learning that it can be mental, that the hyperactivity can be mental was just like, oh my God, that makes
Which is
so
way more
much
common for girls. It's so much more, because that criteria is so much more designed for men, for boys who are usually physically hyperactive, whereas girls, some girls are hyperactive, but it's usually going on in their brain. It's the racing thoughts, 100%. The second question is, what are your current hyperfixations / special interests?
So honestly, it's my business. It's becoming an entrepreneur. It's like I'm 40 and it's not something that I had ever expected for myself, like just whatsoever. And so anything with coaching, anything with, psychology's been a lifelong one. Anything that's like about like my business and doing things for myself and learning these things, that's where I'm focused.
Where you're at. I love that. What is an ADHD, or I should say AuDHD trait that you feel is unique to you?
Oh. Well, I don't know that I'm going to go ahead and say that it's completely unique to me. And what I appreciate the most, I guess we would say, like the trait that I love the most is my pattern spotting ability, like just seeing the way that all the things are interconnected.
I wish I had that one. I've heard from a few people who are AuDHD that they have great pattern recognition, and I'm dyscalculic, so I can't see patterns at all. And I'm like, where did this trait go for me? But then I'm like, oh, I'm dyscalculic, so it like doesn't exist. Pattern recognition. I would love that. So thank you for answering those questions. So let's talk a bit more about what is a holistic depth coach, because I don't know if a lot of people know what that means. I know what holistic means and I know what a coach is, but what is a holistic depth coach?
I mean, considering it's kind of a title that I made up for myself, it makes sense that not a lot of people are going to know what it means.
Fair.
So I'll say what it means to me is that I am a coach who is going to go deep into things. Like if you are someone who only wants like surface level conversations, you only want kind of surface level help, or you only want validation or anything along those lines, I'm not the person for you to work with because
Mhm.
I know that's not going to solve any of your problems. And the reason that I use holistic in there is that I take what I view as kind of a four-bodied approach. It's the idea
Mhm.
that we have like our physical body, yes, and
Of course.
there's also our emotional body, our mental body, and our spiritual body.
Mm, mm,
And so
mm,
I
mm.
will help people with all of those because they're all so intertwined that
It's
I don't
holistic. Yeah.
exactly.
It checks out. So
Yep.
it's like you're not interested in small talk. You always want to go in for the deep stuff.
Yep, which
Yeah.
has been my entire life and also is the autism and the ADHD. So
No, totally fair. Do you find like a lot of people come to you for like just a quick thing and then they end up opening up to you? Or are you the one who sort of gets them to open up? Or do you find that people usually are like, oh, I'm just coming for this thing, and then they end up like spilling their guts?
the number of times that I have been told oh my God, I don't normally talk like this. Like, I don't know why you're just so easy to talk to is a really big part of why I started my business as a coach because I've always done it for friends, for people that I've encountered. Like I enjoy talking to people and
Same.
helping them figure things out.
Yeah.
And
Sometimes
yeah,
it can be a bit of a curse, I find. Like, obviously, with your
sure.
business, you'd have a really good vetting system and it's your business. But I remember when I was younger, I used to have, like, I used to say to people, I have, like, a thing on my forehead, a stamp saying, like, the personal counselor, because people would just come to me with all of their problems. And when I'd say to them, look, like, I'm happy to hear you, but this sounds really complicated. Like, you really need to see a doctor. They'd be like, no,
Yep.
but you're so great to speak to. And it's like, yeah, but I'm burnt out. I actually can't. I can't
I
help
mean,
you with
that's
this.
great.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, but it's like I'm 16 and I'm not getting paid.
Yeah. No, no, it's great that you
You
were
know?
standing up for your energy. That's what
Oh
I think
yeah.
is
Oh yeah. You have to, but you have to. And even I'm sure
yes.
as like a coach who's, got a business for it, you'd also have to like preserve, your mental energy, your psyche so that you don't get run down. The other question I
Absolutely.
had is what sort of people do you have coming to you? Is it a really specific group or is it like a variety?
I call it a group of like divergent thinkers. So just people who all think differently. And yes,
Mhm.
including like neurodivergent, like autistic, ADHD, and bigger than that. It's entrepreneurs, it's coaches, it's creatives, it's healers, it's anybody who kind of feels like they think outside of the box, that they think differently.
Mm, mm,
That's what I
mm,
view as
mm.
my niche, if you will.
I love that. I love that. So let's talk a bit more about you so we know what a holistic depth coach is. So tell me about your late diagnosis. How did you come to be diagnosed?
So I I call it being a peer-reviewed diagnosis in that I started to meet people who were autistic and ADHD. Like I had met someone that I was working with at the time was a late diagnosed, like just turned 40-ish,
Mm,
woman who recently realized that she was autistic and ADHD and everything and all that. And so like I was hearing about it directly from her experience
mm,
and she like directed me to resources online like embraceautism.com and just other accounts on Instagram where I'm hearing about what it's like for people directly from them and like learning that like the diagnostic test for example for with autism
mm,
that there's questions like do you struggle with XYZ.
mm.
And in the past, my answer had always been, no, I don't struggle with that because I have the system. I already have this problem solved. Like I'm 38, like I've already figured all these things out for myself, kind of
You've
thing.
grown
And
out
then,
of it, air quotes. Like you've grown. Yeah.
well, and then like she pointed out to me that having to have a system means that I do struggle with it. Like
There was a
I'm taking it
problem. There was an
literally.
issue.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like I'm like, no, I don't literally struggle with it because I've already solved that problem. Therefore, my answer to this question is no. And it's like that the fact that I had to have that system, that I have to have that to do it means my answer is actually yes. And so like so many of the questions were not, they were written by people's observations of autism. And
Yeah, poorly
like, yeah,
phrased.
yeah, yeah. And so like I
Mm-mm.
read it, I'm like, that no, that doesn't match my experience. So therefore I'm not autistic. And yeah, that coworker, she really opened my eyes and just, yeah, hearing it directly from people, especially women.
Mm,
You know, I was social. I can make conversation, obviously. Like I can interact with society, and
of course.
I still don't understand social hierarchy. I'm still not going to lie to, make anybody else comfortable. I'm
Mm.
honest, I'm blunt. It's just the way that it is. So,
We're
and I
gonna talk
like it.
about that more. We're gonna talk about that more because I feel like that's like the one known trait like that I say to people. It's like, you know why it's good to have an autistic friend is because they'll really be honest with you, and not in like a, oh, I'm just being honest, but they're actually being rude. Because there's a difference,
Yeah.
when people are just being like assholes and they're just rude
Yes.
to you, and like it's just me being honest, whereas like autistics will just actually be honest with you because it's a genuine like thing, like they're actually trying to be genuine with you, and it's actually very, very helpful to have an autistic friend like that because they will never bullshit you.
Yeah.
They'll always be honest. Sometimes
I
it
mean,
hurts. You're like, oh my god,
yeah,
yeah.
there are autistic assholes. I mean, that does
Oh
also
yeah,
exist.
that is true.
So,
No, there's assholes everywhere. Yes,
yes.
but the good ones, the good people, are usually just kind of being honest
Yeah.
to just because that's who they are. The other question I
Yeah.
have is, so when you were diagnosed, did you feel a sense of shock, relief, or grief, or was it a mixture? How did you react when you got your autism diagnosis and your ADHD diagnosis?
So I have been diagnosed ADHD by a
Hmm.
therapist and everything.
Hmm.
I have not sought any of the autism tests or any
Okay.
of the like official diagnoses
Hmm.
for a large variety of reasons, money being a
I was gonna
big
say
part of
money. Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
money and
expensive.
things are very shaky in the United States right now, and so I especially
Yeah.
also don't want to be on record if I don't need to be. So not the way
Fair.
I like it,
Hmm.
and here we are. So yeah, so mine is more like the amount of research that I've done is not the amount of research that someone who's not autistic is going to do. Like it's just it's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
The rabbit holes that I have dug down and the differences that I have read and like the statistics that I can now spout at you, like it's yeah.
It's yeah. So when you were diagnosed, so with ADHD, it was a relief? Was it, oh,
Well,
this
I
makes
mean,
sense, or you were like, cool?
the either way, like regardless of like the official diagnosis or like
Yeah.
me having this realization,
Yeah.
it was after I got over the initial, am I right? Am I allowed to call myself autistic? Am I allowed to call
Yeah.
myself these things? Once I got over that,
That
it was very relieving. And I did have
that's
to do a
good.
lot of mourning. Like I had to
Hmm.
mourn
What could have
not
been?
knowing what I didn't know.
Mm. That's what I find a lot of people say when they've been late diagnosed, even with like ADHD. It's not a grief that they've been diagnosed. It's a grief of what could have been. Like all the
Yeah.
problems that they had when they were younger could have been answered and solved by just getting that diagnosis and always
Yeah.
feeling behind. But then it's also a huge relief because now you can move forward, even though it's later, and
Yeah.
you have the answers.
And you meet people who are like you. You hear about people
Yes.
who have experiences that are like you, and you no longer feel as alone, like autism or ADHD. It's yeah.
It's relieving. How did people around you react when you told them, or when you were like, I think I might be special, I might be different? How did they
Yeah.
respond? How did friends and family react to that?
It's been a little bit of a mix. Most of my friends were like, well, duh. Like one of my friends was like, yeah, I've been telling you that for a while and you've been very resistant to it. So it was like, okay, like um most of my friends and everything have been very understanding. I don't,
Mm,
especially with the ADHD, and honestly, the majority of them are also ADHD. I'm not sure as much about autism, but like they're all neurodivergent. So
love.
we're all just a bunch of weird people anyway, if you will. So like
Yeah, yeah.
happily, proudly weird. And we've been friends for like It's been I think at least 10 years with like each of my
Oh,
friends. So
that's
yeah, it's been
beautiful.
a long time.
That's
Yeah, my
lovely because a
parents,
lot of
yeah,
ADHDs and autistics really struggle with maintaining friendships. So when you find
yeah.
like that core group of people, it's beautiful. It's lovely.
I've always been very fortunate to what I feel in that. Like well, I shouldn't say always. I did struggle a lot as a kid. I struggled to fit in. I didn't like
Same.
myself,
Mm.
all of that. And then I went to college. And so like I graduated college like I don't know 20 years ago or almost 20 years ago, and
Hmm.
I get together at least once a year with people from college. Like we're still friends today, and I just the friends that I've made as an adult too, not all of them. People come and go. Like
True.
that's that's true for everyone.
That's life.
And
That's
yeah,
literally life. Yep.
yeah.
Yep. You were going to say something about your parents before I asked you about
Oh, yeah.
your about friendships. What were you going to say?
Good memory.
I
My
try.
parents are very supportive, and they
Oh.
just want me to be happy and healthy. And they want me to be able to, take care of myself and function and all of these things. And they have witnessed all of the depression that I've gone through and
Mm.
everything. And so at first, I think they got a little defensive, like not
Mm.
outwardly defensive, but just like we should have known this. And so you can't be
Yeah.
autistic because we should have known. And then it was a no, we should have known. And then it became a
Like
like
guilt
a
almost. A bit of
yeah,
guilt.
exactly. Exactly. A lot
Yeah.
of
Well, it's
guilt.
not their fault, you know. It's just,
No, we
this
don't know what we
happened.
don't know. And like, so like I even told them, I was like, there's no need for guilt. There's no need for any of that. I mean, feel what you're going to feel. I'm not trying to tell anybody how they should feel.
Mm.
And like, we know what we know. We do the best we can until we know better. Then when we know better, we do better. It's like
We
Maya
do
Angelou.
literally. Yep, yep.
Yeah.
No, literally that. It's I mean, yeah, I find a lot of parents they when they're like told, their child might be, neurodivergent, they get so defensive, not even because they're trying to be malicious, it's because they're in outright denial because they think it's a result of their parenting when
Yeah.
it's just not. And a lot of the time the parents themselves might also be, neurodivergent,
Exactly.
and
That's not
so
weird. Everybody in
that's
our
not like
family does that. It's like,
it's
yeah,
true.
there's a reason for
Literally, my
that.
dad, when my mum was like to my dad, I think Lucy might be ADHD. She does this and that. My dad's like, I did that as a kid. And now he's
It's
like
like,
been
yeah.
diagnosed. Like, yeah, like, so yeah, I think parents, yeah, put a lot of pressure on themselves because it's like, you should know. And obviously sometimes it's like so obvious, but it's also not so obvious. And like you said, if
It's
we don't
not.
know what we don't know, then we don't know.
Yeah.
And that's just what it
Can't see the
is.
label from inside the jar.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's just but that's good that your parents are supportive. That's so important because you need that when you've just been diagnosed, especially when it's like later on. I've heard from a lot of people who have been diagnosed later on that their parents are like, yeah, sure, like that's great for you.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's like we don't really believe you, but like
You
whatever
can
you say,
call yourself
sweetheart.
whatever you want to
You
call
want.
yourself.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, you don't have to label yourself. I don't care what you do, as long as you just do that in private. Yeah, it's like
Yes, yeah, do it behind
it's like
closed doors.
yeah, it's the conservative grandparent. It's like, Grandma, my friend's gay. Well, as long as they are doing it in private, I have no issue with them. It's like, okay,
Yep.
whatever. Like, that's whatever. So, talking
Absolutely.
about autism and ADHD, obviously, autism is a spectrum, ADHD is a spectrum. We are
Yes.
not the spokespeople for autism or ADHD, but what are the similarities and the differences that you can see in yourself that sort of, I mean, it'd be very conflicting because you hold both of those with
Mhm.
autism and ADHD. Like, how can people spot the difference with the two?
Well, see, that's hard. Okay, so I'm going to
It's hard.
clarify. Spot the difference between autism and ADHD,
Yes.
or okay.
Yes. It's hard
So it is
because
hard
you,
because so
yeah.
much of it overlaps, right?
There we
And
go.
I'm a very logical person. I am not as much of an emotional person, so that is where I personally view that more as my autism.
Yep.
Um, and what I view as more my ADHD is the fact that my brain never stops, is the fact that I get bored with things. I need novelty. If I'm
The
not interested,
dopamine.
Yeah,
The
I
dopamine
need the
seeking.
dopamine.
Yes.
Yes. And if I'm not interested in what you're expecting me to focus on, it's
I'm
going
not
to be
going to do it.
really, 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 really hard. And it's not going to be great.
Yep. Yep.
And then I like the autism side, I view that more as like the where I am blunt, where I do take language very literally.
Mm.
Um, I take that like it's what I think is really interesting about autism and ADHD, because I mean, again, they do overlap
Of
so
course.
much. Um, it's like there's, and again, they are like the spectrum. And just
Of
to
course.
clarify, in case anybody is hearing this, when I say
No.
spectrum, I don't mean less to more. I
Mm.
mean like a spiky circular
Yeah.
profile
It's
where
not linear.
things show up. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not linear. Exactly. A
It's a
lot of people,
clusterfuck. It's
it
a lot
is
of
a
it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
clusterfuck. Yes.
It's like yeah, it's actually a clusterfuck. Like it's not even it's a mess. It's a mess in the best
It is.
way. But yeah, no, no.
Yes. Yeah.
I see what
And
you are
it
saying. Yep.
changes every
Yes.
second of every day,
Yes.
depending just on everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and what I think is interesting is like, so I am very sensitive to sound.
Mm.
I have like, they're not near me. I have cat earmuffs. Like, I hate winter. And at least when it's winter, I get to wear my
Yeah. Ema.
cat earmuffs, and
Love.
they muffle the sound. So like I wear
Mm.
them inside restaurants. I wear them really if
Mm.
I'm not at home by myself. I'm generally speaking am wearing them.
Yeah.
It just like helps me feel more comfortable and dampen sound and all that stuff. And then there are people who are autistic and are the exact opposite. They're the ones who are like, I got to turn this up. Like, it is just not enough. I've got to get more and more and more of this. And I
Yeah.
don't know where, like, I'm
Where
curious
that
about where
comes from.
autism fits with ADHD. Yeah. How does that
Yeah.
fit in?
Yeah, because I always find like, and obviously, we haven't met every single autistic person. We're not speaking
Yeah.
for them, but every single autistic person that I've met, sound is a huge thing for them in the sense that they do not that they don't like sound. It's like, oh my god, that
Just
music
extra
is too
sensitive.
loud. That's super
Mhm.
sensitive. Whereas all the ADHDs that I know, it's like, let's turn the tunes up. Let's like turn it up. I've never actually met, an autistic who's like, I love the sound. So yeah, but clearly it is a
Not a
spectrum,
straight
and
up autistic. Yeah.
it's
Only ever a
it
mix.
is it is a mix of things. So you find sensory. So do you experience, what would you call it, sensory overload, and like sensory
Yes.
just like sensitivity? Okay. Yep.
Absolutely. And that's internal and external. That's to my emotions. Like I feel
Mm.
like my emotions get very extreme and very big. Big is how I want to describe them.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
my emotions go very large. And I have heard that from ADHD people and autistic people and just people. So like I don't know what fits in there, but I do know that my like I am extra sensitive to that.
Mm.
I'm also extra
Yeah.
sensitive to energy. Like I can read
Mm.
a room. That's part of why I do coaching. Is like I can kind of read things and I can
And
tell.
that's so interesting that you say you can read a
Yeah.
room, because usually what you're hearing with autistics is like, fucking read the room, bro. Like, you don't know how to read
Yeah.
the room. And then you're like, I can read the room. So
Yeah. And
it's
I don't know if that's the
fascinating.
ADHD then or like you're like
Mm,
I
that's
don't
the
know.
thing. Because I always hear like the line that I've used before, because people are like, what is the difference? Because they want to hear like a difference with ADHD and autism. And I'm like, well,
Mhm.
there's many similarities, but the one that I can see, and obviously I'm not an expert, is usually autistics aren't aware of the social cues because they are so unclear, and humans lie and we're unclear.
Yeah.
ADHDers know the social cues, but we actually choose to ignore them because we're so impulsive. It's like, yeah, I know
Yeah.
it's rude to interrupt you, but I just can't help it. I'm going to do it. Whereas autistics are like, I didn't know that it was rude to interrupt. I'm not trying to be rude. That's just like, I don't know this rule. I don't understand this rule. Agree with that, or it's complicated?
Well, it's nuanced like
It's
anything.
nuanced. Yes. Yes.
And I don't like I'm not sure because I see like social hierarchy, for example. Like I
Mm.
understand that I am supposed to, I don't know, respect someone because of their title, and also I'm not
Ah,
going to respect you just because of your title. Like
the
it's
authority.
yeah,
Yeah,
part of
yeah.
it's the authority, and it's like it's just I'm gonna talk to you like you're a person because you're a person. Like it's not like
Interesting.
beyond that. Like I'm not going to treat you any more special just because other people tell me that I should. Like, and yeah, and like I'm not going to babysit someone else's emotions. As I have
Yeah.
gotten more emotionally intelligent, it's like
Yeah.
I'm gonna do my part. I'm not going to purposefully harm you.
No,
And
no. Of
yeah,
course not. Yeah,
yeah. And
I
I'm
think
like,
everyone should adopt that. Like, I'm not going to babysit your emotions because a lot of the time, what I hear is like, either it's like ADHD is they're so self-involved, it's always about them, they're always
mhm,
going on. And then with autistics, it's like they're really like blunt and mean. And obviously there are ADHD assholes and autistic assholes,
yes.
but I think a great rule that everyone should have, whether they're neurodivergent or not, is like you are responsible for how you behave, and it's your responsibility
Yep.
to not be an asshole to people. But how other people feel is like absolutely none of my business. And
Yeah.
like I can't work with you on that. I am not responsible for like the way you feel, and I'm not going to let you put that on me. I think we could
Yeah.
all I think we could all like take a bit of that. We could always be kind, and we, look after each other
Being
and
kind
kind
for
to
sure.
people.
Kind,
Being
not nice.
kind. Yeah, but yeah, just taking it always. Yeah, I won't take it. I'm not going to like, yeah, sit. I'm not going to babysit you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
And
like
like
that.
I've never understood, like I know that people lie, and I part of it is that I don't. I'm not good at it. Like I
Not
really
good at
suck
lying.
at it, quite frankly. I don't like the way it makes me feel. So it's just I don't want to
With
have to
all
remember it.
lies? What about like a white
All
lie? Like let's say all lies. So like if a kid, like when I used to babysit kids, they would draw stuff for me, and some of it was like, you know, it wasn't
well,
amazing, and
okay.
I'd say
It's a
that's
kid drawing. Yeah.
beautiful. Would you be like, yeah, it's okay?
No, I wouldn't necessarily be like, yeah, it's okay. I would find something to say that is truthful. So like it would be like hey, you put a lot of effort into that, or oh, I like what you did over here. Like I'm not going to be like, this is the best drawing that I've ever seen in the entire world. Like I'm not gonna
I love
lie.
that's so because it's like you did that like when I used to like do something like my dad. I'd say to my dad, "Dad, watch me, I'll spin," and he'd be like, "Yeah, you spun really fast.
Yeah,
You did that. You spun. That was a
good job.
wow, like great job. Not you're
Yeah,
an amazing dancer, you're a ballerina." And even though it's like
yeah.
so lovely, it's actually so funny. Like say to me, "You put so much effort into that. That's so colorful. Well done." Are you happy with it? That's great. That's great for you.
And
So you, yeah,
that's
no, go
that's
on.
a lot of what it is. Yeah.
I love that. So you try to find something truthful rather than like, yeah, okay. So why does lying make? Obviously, lying should make people uncomfortable. You shouldn't lie. But how? What about it makes you uncomfortable? How do you? What's the reaction you get when you lie? And obviously not for big lies. I'm talking small things.
Yeah.
How does that make
I
you
just
feel?
I get uncomfortable. It's just like I
Mm,
feel uncomfortable. I don't feel aligned with it. Like I feel uncomfortable in my skin, and like you can always read what I'm thinking on my face for the most part. And so like even just like thinking about lying, I'm starting to blush a little bit right now, and like it's gonna come out on my face whether or not I want it to.
I say to people, I have, and people are like, you can't tell. I say to people, I have facial Tourette's, so I can't actually hide what I'm thinking. So when people are like, oh, I could tell you were really annoyed when that person was talking, I'm like, no, I wasn't. And then they like, I can see my face, and it's like
Was
looking at the
concentrating. It's
person.
my concentrating face. Yes.
Oh yeah, I always look angry when I'm concentrating. Like at work,
Yeah.
one of my colleagues, she's my like good friend. So I just say, "Are you right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm great." I just look so
Yeah.
annoyed because I'm focused. I look really mad. Like I've got like a scowl on my face, but it's like I'm totally fine, but I'm
Yeah.
really focused on this. Yeah, yeah.
When I
Can't hide
started
what
to
we're
work
thinking.
from home, I did not
Yeah.
like that's one of the things that I did not miss. I did not miss well-meaning people interrupting me to be like, "Are you okay? Are you angry?" I was like,
Now I
"I'm
am.
working." Yes, I am annoyed, but I was
Uh,
fine before.
it's like when you're in a bad mood, it's like, are you in a bad mood? It's like, don't start. Like now you're gonna put me in a
Yeah,
worse mood. Shut up. I'm fine. I'm fine. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm okay. It's like when you're crying and people say, are you okay? No,
yeah,
I'm not. Like I'm crying. Like what do you think? Do you think I'm like
yeah.
having a good time here, mate? So silly.
Well, what I
The other
normally do is like Yeah, I'm completing the stress cycle now. Actually, what I'm doing is releasing cortisol and I'm regulating my body. And then I just like, it's like, that's what you get for asking me about crying. So,
That's such a it's like an actually silly, it's a really silly thing. Or when you're on the verge of tears and someone's like, "Are you okay?" and you're like, and like
no.
and then you just
Yeah.
you start to cry. Something that was interesting to me that you said earlier is that you obviously we are all emotional beings. We all experience
Mhm.
emotions and all of that. But you said that you're far more logical rather than acting on emotion, which I think is
Mhm.
a really important thing that we need to learn, because I find a lot of the time that we are so much more ruled by our feelings. Like, but I feel this way. And it's like, yeah, but just because you feel that way doesn't
Yeah.
mean that, like, not that it's not valid, but that it should, like, that it's, you should give air to it, because we feel so many
Mhm.
things in 1 minute. Like, feelings are like on a conveyor belt. And if we paid attention to every single feeling that we have and every thought, you are going to feel crazy. So I think it's really
Yeah.
important that
Drive
we
yourself
sometimes
crazy.
lead. Yeah, you'd be crazy. So with you, when you say you're more logical, is it because you find that your emotions have misled you, or because it's harder for you to sort of be in tune at times with your emotions, or is it just that's just the way you are and there's no reason for it? You're just more of a logical person.
So I think emotions are not good or bad. That is
Mm.
something that I very, very, very strongly believe. They are
Mm.
information. And there is a
Mm.
difference between having an emotion and reacting to or because of the emotion.
Yes.
And people confuse that. They blur that line. They don't always see the difference there.
Yes.
And so like I view I I'm very much an intellectualizer. I have just now learning to not intellectualize my emotions as much. I'm learning more about how to actually feel them and process them.
Yeah.
And it feels so counter to, well, just the way I've operated for 40 years, I guess. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's taking some unlearning and some relearning.
Mm.
And I also think that like emotions, they can tell us things. Like anger tells us when we care about something and maybe we want
Mm.
to act, not
Yeah.
react, not punch, harm, kick, whatever.
Yes. Yes.
More of a like, you want to make a change, you want to make a difference, you want to act. You want to make it
Not
not
react.
continue. Yes, you want to
Yes.
act, not react. And like I think so often people they think it's bad to be angry. It's bad to be sad. It's bad to be guilty, feel guilty, like all of those things. And it's not, it's difficult. It's not always a
Mm.
lot of fun.
Mm. Mm.
And it
Yeah.
it can tell us things about ourselves if we're willing
Mm.
to look there.
Yeah. I think one with anger, I think that's a common one that we sort of ADHDers and autistics deal with. I don't know about with the way in which autistics deal with it, but I think like ADHDers, we kind of with anger, it's a real it's like we don't have that friend of ours who like holds us back and says like don't punch this person. Obviously I'm not talking about if I was going to go punch a person,
Yeah.
it's very different, but like you don't have that muscle in your brain that's like, hey, stop. And then
The
you
impulse
have
control.
this, yeah, the impulse control. But there's like a word for it. It's like the AL something. There's like a word like the muscle, and it just kind of holds you back. And then we have this big explosion of fury, and I call it the red mist. And then afterwards,
Good way.
you're like, you come back after a minute of doing it and you're like, I'm all good now, but then everyone's wounded and you're like, oh my god, like what did I just do? How do you, and obviously it's hard for you to answer because you have both ADHD and you're both ADHD and autistic, but how do you, what's anger like for you? Because obviously it's different for everyone.
Yeah.
How do you experience anger?
I experience frustration more than I experience anger.
Mm.
And I'm not someone who tends to get angry often. I'm really not. Whether that is natural or learned, I'm not
What is your
100% sure.
personality?
But I just, I don't, I don't tend to get angry.
Mm.
And a lot of anger that people have is because I'm going to word this very carefully. A
Mm-mm.
lot of times people feel anger and they don't realize that there are other emotions under that anger,
Yeah.
that there's actually hurt and sadness and fear and any other number of emotions underneath anger. It's just anger is an
Yeah.
easier one for people to go to and latch onto.
But it's actually yeah, that's true. Because at least sadness is due to a lot of things. Like when someone's sad, we know that it could be because of grief, fear, pain. Whereas anger, we actually rarely peel back and go, actually, you're not just angry. You can't just be angry. You have to be hurt,
Yeah,
or you have
generally
to
speaking,
be
yeah,
fearful.
you can be angry and
You
most
can just
likely
be straight up.
suffer.
You are,
Yes.
but I do think though, if you peel back, sometimes it's like there's a lot of other things as well
Mhm.
behind it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think
Interesting.
that like any of that emotional, it's all part of emotional intelligence. And it's
Mm,
a muscle just like any other muscle. So it's
mm,
something that we can train and we can learn and grow.
mm.
It's not, are you familiar with like a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay. Yeah, so
yeah.
like it's like emotions. Like the fixed mindset would be saying that I am just an angry person. I am always angry.
Mm.
And the growth mindset is
For now,
I experience a lot of anger now
yeah,
because it's what I've known and it's what I'm used to. And
yes.
our brains are made to choose what our brains are want comfort. They want certainty, they want control. And these things aren't really things that we always get. And it's still what our brains want.
Mm,
So,
mm. Yeah, no, it's true. And I think also like we're told like that anger is like a really bad thing, especially with women. Like you
mhm,
should not be angry. It's
allowed to be angry.
unseemly. Yeah, you're
Yep.
not allowed to be angry. And I do think it's important that like obviously it's important to cry. It's important to experience well yeah, to be angry at times, but there are
To feel and
definitely healthier
process it.
ways. Yeah, and processing it, but I think there are definitely healthier ways. But I do find frustration. I actually, what I experience, I shouldn't even say it's anger, it's actually frustration, but
Yep.
I feel it turns into anger. So when I'm frustrated, I don't get frustrated in the way that I think people would picture it, where it's like, oh, I'm frustrated. I cry when I'm frustrated. I'm a
I
big
cry when I'm
crier.
frustrated.
I
I
cry when
cry
I'm
with every strong
frustrated.
emotion.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. Literally, I cry when I'm happy, but I tend to cry when I'm frustrated, and I
yep.
then tend
Same.
to get angry. Yeah, because it's like, oh, I'm crying, I'm frustrated, and then you get angry. Yeah, yeah,
And then
yeah.
I'm mad that I'm frustrated. Yep.
Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, no, no, I'm a big cry, and we just cry with big emotions. If I'm happy, I'll cry. Sad,
Yep.
confused, I'll cry if I'm confused, which then
Oh,
turns into frustration. So it's like I'm
yeah.
confused.
You got it. Yep.
Yep. Yep. Confusion is frustrating. It's like I don't know. And you cry and it's like I feel vulnerable. Yeah, no, that is so interesting. How do you work with people when it comes to their emotional regulation? Because that's a huge thing that we hear in the neurodivergent community, emotionally regulating oneself. How do you as a coach help people with that, and how do you help yourself? Do you have a cure? Do you have words of wisdom for us? Obviously not a cure, but
The best way that I can put it is that I meet them where they are and I meet myself where I am, as
mm.
opposed to where I think I quote should be or where, I think they should be. Like I try not to do any of the shoulds. I don't should all over myself, if you will.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, I'm gonna use that.
And there you go. So what I normally do is, and again, there's a lot of nuance. It really just depends on the person and where they are at and everything. But if I'm going to go high level and say what it is that I do, it's emotional intelligence, emotional agility, emotional regulation. These are things that sometimes we have to be taught and we aren't.
Mm,
And especially like I was born in the 80s. So as a like child growing up in the 80s and the 90s, like I
mm,
know that in my generation and before, there wasn't a lot of acceptance around strong emotions or mental health or
Of
doing
course.
things for yourself or anything
Mm,
along those lines.
mm,
And like, so it's like, yes, maybe we need to mourn that we didn't learn these things before now, whenever we're
mm,
talking or meeting,
mm.
and we can still learn now. Like,
Yep.
it's not too late. It will work
Mm.
for you. Like,
Growth.
it's really
Mm.
easy to think that it works for everybody else but me. And
Yes.
the way that I coach and what I do is it's not one size fits all at all.
No.
I can't tell you exactly what I would do because it really depends on what the person needs. But in general, I'm gonna teach you that emotions are not good or bad.
Mm,
They are not things to be avoided. They are
mm.
natural. They can be hard to deal with. They can be difficult,
Yeah,
but they're not wrong,
definitely.
right?
Yeah.
And so like starting with that, and then also it's how you talk to yourself. Like how you talk to yourself makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
And that's like the second biggest thing that I would say that I do to help people with the
Mm.
emotions, because a lot of times people don't see the space, again, like I was saying earlier, they don't see the space between having the emotion and having the reaction to the emotion. And so a lot of what I do is teaching to look for that space. The more you look for that space, the more prominent that space is going to become, the more natural it's going to feel to look for that
Holding
space,
space,
look for that
guys.
pause.
We're
Yes.
holding space. We're holding space.
Yeah.
No, but it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it's something to be taught. Like it may not be
Yeah.
something you know. Like if you grew up and you were told being angry is bad, you're not allowed to be angry. You're not allowed to have strong opinions. And then you've internalized that. And maybe you don't realize exactly how much that has impacted you.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of getting into like the root causes and helping people realize where these internal dialogues that they're running, where these limiting beliefs that they're coming, like that they have around their emotions,
Mm,
getting
mm,
them to
mm.
realize them and helping them clear them.
Of course.
And
Another thing. No, go on, go on. You were going to say something. No, you weren't.
I was
Oh,
just
I
say,
thought.
yeah, for myself, what I do is it's a lot of talking to myself in what feels or seems like sounds like a very weird thing. Like
No.
it'd be like, yeah, this is really hard right now. Like this, I am feeling very angry right now, and I don't know what to do because I'm feeling about it, and I accept that I'm feeling this way about it, and like, that
Like
kind
when
of,
you hear people say that, it's like, oh my god, but it actually is helpful. Like I get annoyed
yeah,
sometimes when like I
yes,
remember at work we had a session where we talked about windows of tolerance and about, acknowledging how you feel, and like one of
yep,
the people really helpful well-meaning was like, I look at the anger and I say to it, hello, I know that you are here right now, but I am going to, and it's like, don't,
mhm,
like, that's so annoying, but it actually is helpful. Maybe you don't do it
it
directly
is.
in that way. I usually go, yeah, I'm feeling a bit pissed off. I should just like let it go or move on. But some people, they do find it helpful to be like, hello, anger, not
Well, the
today,
thing is,
you know?
when you tell yourself that I should let it go
It's
or move
true.
on, you're
True.
judging yourself for having the emotion. And so
True.
it's exactly that type of thought that I will help
Mm.
people see and start to be able to choose to learn from. So it's not necessarily going to feel comfortable for you to want to welcome your anger to being.
Yeah. I don't want
Something to
to. I don't want to
learn.
greet it. Yeah, I don't want
No,
it. Like when it's like,
yeah.
greet your anger. It's like, no, fuck you. I don't want to greet my
Theoretically, like,
anger.
yeah, why
Yeah.
would you want to do that?
Yeah,
And
that's so annoying. Yeah. Because we want to
yeah, and
avoid pain.
yeah, the other idea is like get into your body so that when you're experiencing an emotion, like as opposed to like thinking about the stories about what it all means and trying to solve the emotion,
Yeah.
like get into your body, like
Mm.
where you
Notice
feel
the
like,
signs.
yeah, that's really, really hard for me because I
Mm.
alexithmia, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right,
Mm.
but it's part of like it can be an autistic trait where you have
Yeah.
difficulty determining your emotions and describing them, and I
Mm.
have that. So it can be
Mm.
very hard for me to like I don't necessarily feel it in my body.
Yeah, well,
And
I find that too. I know what my emotions are. Like I'm able to identify them, but I recently have only started to listen to the physical signs of when I know I'm getting a
mhm,
certain way. Like I've now noticed when I'm getting angry, my throat tightens and it gets really sore. And I used to be like, I can't tell that I'm getting angry, because a lot of people, when they get angry, they shake or they tense up. It's my throat. I can identify it that way, and it's really helpful, because I'm like, oh, throat's getting tight. Better like,
I think I'm getting angry. Yeah.
I'm getting angry. Or
Yeah,
sometimes I say my throat's getting tight
until it's
there. Yeah, well, I don't. Yeah. I notice it now, but I still get there, and then I'm like, oh, okay. So yeah, same. But I'm starting to try and like, okay, the throat's getting tight. Let's like walk away from the situation. Let's not stay and fight it. Not that I'm getting into fights. But yeah, it's already too late, and I'm like, I noticed it, but I'll grow the muscle, and then one day I'll be like, oh, my throat's starting, and I just won't get to that point, and it'll be great.
Or maybe you still will, because emotions are okay. And you will be able to also cope and help yourself through it, because you're starting to realize the signs, and you can be like, okay, I'm getting angry. I feel it, and then I can choose how I'm going to react because of it.
Yes. I'm going to choose how I'm going to act, because we don't react.
Sorry, I'm going to choose how I act because of it, not choose how I react. Yes. Good job.
Very, very true. No, but I really like that. It's like, not react. How are we going to act? Because I find a lot of the time impulsivity, it's just reactivity, and it's not necessarily coming from a bad place, but when you are reactive, it can be so not only detrimental to the person that's like receiving it, but just it's not good for you to be constantly like reacting. It's exhausting. It's really exhausting. It's not good. Like, imagine you just respond and you react. And I find that when I am experiencing PMS, like right before my period, I find myself being in that reactive mode where it's like every comment, even though it's not a rude comment, it's just me, being hormonal. It's like, I'm going to respond to it because it's making me feel this way. And then I'm the one who's upset, Everyone else is like, yep, she's like dealing with something. She's, not having a good day. But I'm the one who's left being like, exhausted. Yeah. Makes me angry. Thinking about it makes me angry. No, it doesn't make me angry. But yeah, it's exhausting.
It is. And like, I find that because I also like around my period, I have PMDD, which was something I was diagnosed with at like
I think I have that
60.
too.
Yeah. And there's a lot of linkage now between PMDD and
ADHD
neurodivergence,
and autism.
ADHD and autism, and I'm not sure which parts specifically. And it does. And now, like, I mean, it has absolutely changed as I've gotten older and everything. And I've learned a little bit more of how to deal with it. And now it gets to the point where it's like, why am I so cranky? And then I look at like where I am in my cycle. I'm like, oh, that's why I'm so cranky. Okay.
Literally, my period app now, I have my period app, and I have had it for years, but I only used it to tell me, oh, your period's coming. I never actually used it to actually understand my cycle. And I consider myself someone who's like, I love like sex and biology nerd. I love that. But I never, ever would look at my period app and go, that's why I feel like an ugly troll. I never chose to understand my cycle. And now that when I am starting, even when I'm not feeling well and I'm like, oh my God, I'm dying. It's like, no, this is where you are in your cycle. That means that you're going to feel that way. And it's so important. I think also if you're dealing with PMDD, which I do believe I should go get it checked out. It's so much harder when you're also ADHD or autistic, because it's like, is it the PMDD or is it just me being ADHD? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, what is it? And it's like you almost experience decision fatigue. It's like, which one is it today? Like, what is causing this emotional, this physical reaction? And it's just a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
And I think that something that may help you or anybody else who's listening when it comes to any of that is it is a lot. And like, I'm trying to think of the wording that I was going to use for that. Like trying to figure out why do I feel the way that I feel? That is a form of intellectualizing. That's a form of like, I need to understand what I'm feeling so that I can solve it and then not feel this way anymore. And so it's actually impossible. It is. So it's actually like contrary to what will actually help us, which is like learning how to view any emotion as being welcome, like what we were talking about before. Like is all stuff that gets impacted because yes, your hormones fluctuate. And yes, that impacts the way that you feel about a lot. And like, and yes, this is all like very, very true. And there becomes a certain point when it doesn't really matter why you're feeling what you're feeling. You just need to process it and not try to solve it. Not don't latch on to it. Like what you were saying before with sometimes you just got to let the emotions go. Like
Mm.
choosing not to latch on to it.
It's like picking your battles. And when I say let it go,
Yeah.
obviously it is not good long term that if you are feeling, let's say, really depressed or really anxious, it's not good to let that emotion, those feelings go, because you can't let
Oh
them
yeah.
go. They're sitting there. But I do believe in picking my battles. It's like, at work, I deal with a lot of members of the public and I get really difficult phone calls and sometimes they're very rude. And
Yeah.
in order for me to move on to the next phone call, I have to actually let go of how that person made me feel. Because if I sit with
Yeah.
how annoyed this person has made me, the next person that is going to be on the phone, I'm going to be like thinking about it. So I actually just
Yeah.
have to move on. I just have to actually pick my battle. And then maybe next time that person's rude to me, I'll say, hey, you're being really rude. Stop it. But I just actually need to be like, okay,
Yeah.
thank you for your call. That's amazing. Bye. And just kind of move on. It's picking my
Yeah.
battles with my emotions. Do I need to duke it out with this person, or can I just be like,
Yeah.
irrelevant?
It's
Like, I'm not going to let
cost
you.
versus benefit.
Yeah,
What
and
is
I'm not going to
actually
let
going
some
to serve me
stranger ruin
better?
my day. Yeah, like cost
Yeah.
benefit. It's like I'm not going to let a stranger ruin my day. I'm not going to do that. But then there might be days where I'm feeling extra sensitive and it's like, actually, I'm really hurt by this, and I'll vent with my colleagues and we'll talk about it. And it's like,
Mhm.
I'm really upset by this phone call, and we'll be like, yeah, whatever, da da da. But yeah, there is something to be said about, not over intellect, like picking your battles. And I think when I read like a lot of, like whenever I'm reading like philosophy and specifically French philosophy, they really love overanalyzing their emotions, and it's very existential. And I just don't know how people can be happy when they're like that, because it gets really like, then you're like, well, what are emotions and who am I anymore? And then it just gets a bit dark and scary. And I just, I don't, and
Yeah.
it gets a bit too it gets a bit too self-indulgent and a bit too romantic. And it's like, oh my God, like I would just rather not, I would rather not do this and find other ways,
Yeah.
like,
Brings
welcoming
in the
anger.
dread.
Yeah, it brings in a sense of dread, and us ADHDers do not like feeling uncomfortable. We like dopamine, which are what I wanted to
People
talk
don't like
about
feeling
next.
uncomfortable.
No, people
Period.
don't like feeling uncomfortable, but I feel like we really don't like it. I feel as though ADHDers and autistics, like I just say to people, I'm not doing that thing, not because I'm trying to be difficult. It's just because I know I'm not going to enjoy it, so I just don't want to do it. Like when my
Yeah.
teachers
I
would
mean,
give me math homework, I don't want to
yeah.
do it. Not because I'm insolent or disrespectful. It's because it's too hard. I don't want to do
Yeah.
it.
Well, some of that is, again, the way that we talk to
Insolence.
ourselves. Like,
Mm,
what does it mean for something to be hard? Like,
true.
that kind of thing. Something I've learned in coaching is that we all have our own definitions for words. And like as someone
True.
who used to like literally read the dictionary for fun, like the idea of there being
Me
different definitions
too.
for
Maybe I should
words.
get an autism diagnosis. Maybe I should. I used to read the dictionary for fun. In school, when I wasn't listening, I'd get the dictionary and I'd read it in like primary school. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go on.
Oh, I forget what I was saying. That was funny. Let's see.
You were saying
Yeah.
um oh fuck, what were you
Yeah. So
saying?
sometimes like I think that there's a difference between not wanting to be uncomfortable, which
Mm,
honestly, sometimes we have to be uncomfortable. Like,
yeah,
I'm sorry, we're
it's
human.
life.
That's
It's
part of the
life.
human experience.
Yep.
And something not being in alignment. And so, like, for me, and granted, this is different as an adult, it's especially different given that I have my own business. I'm not like part of the reason I'm doing this is so that I'm not having a boss to respond to and like, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And uh sometimes things are just not in alignment with me. And it means I'm not going to be able to do them, even if I think that I should, even if I want to talk myself into it. Like I'm trying, or I'm not trying. I've been working really hard on not fighting myself as much, not forcing myself as much,
Mm.
not taking on as much from other people because
Mm.
I like some kind of sense of duty or something that I feel like I should do. And that allows me to like make more choices based on what's in alignment with me, not what's comfortable.
Mm. Mm. Not in alignment. I like that. I'm gonna ponder on that one, and I think the listeners should as well. And more specifically, talking about dopamine, your business, you follow the dopamine life. You said you're always following the dopamine. How does that show up? Following the dopamine, being dopamine seeking.
So the one thing that I like to clarify with that is like sometimes there is the thought that if you're following the dopamine that you're chasing the thrill, that you're um
Yeah.
doing things irrationally, like you're doing things impulsively. And what I view follow the dopamine as is permission to do the things that interest me, to do the things that allow my brain to produce the dopamine that I need, that I want, that my brain naturally doesn't seem to have for
Yeah,
whatever
we don't
reason.
naturally have a lot of it. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like it's permission to do what I am interested in and not what other people tell me I should be interested in.
Mm. I like that because like I hear a lot of people like people ask me, oh, you always listen to that song, like you're always playing that song on repeat. I'm like, yeah, because I get a dopamine hit out of it.
Yeah.
I'm not hurting you by listening to the same song
Yeah.
or watching the same movie over and over. Oh, but that's so annoying. It's like, yeah, but does it affect you? No, it makes me happy. I
Yeah.
get a hit out of doing that. Would you rather I like chase drugs and do drugs and like harm myself?
Yeah.
Because a big thing with ADHD is we're struggling with addiction, like
Addictive personality.
addictive personality. Like they will literally chase the dopamine that a drug could give them.
Yep.
I'm listening to music, which is, a really healthy thing to do. It's a lot
Mhm.
safer. I'm allowed to listen to my music or I'm allowed to have my special interests. Like when people get annoyed that people have special interests, it's like, I get it. Like if someone's info dumping on you, it can be really annoying. I
It
get
can
that.
be, yes.
It can be very annoying. But if someone's just like, I love collecting, like when people have collections, like I collect Barbie dolls. Oh, but it's like, are they hurting you by having this thing
What
that makes them
difference
happy?
does it make to you? Yeah.
It does nothing. Oh, but it's weird. Okay. Yeah.
Are they like murdering somebody to take their dolls? Because then I
Yeah.
might have a little bit of an objection to it.
I might have an issue if they're collecting human teeth. Then I might be worried. Or if they're, stealing corpses, but someone collecting Barbie dolls, it's like, I
Yeah,
don't
I sure
care.
don't
Like,
care. Have fun with that. Don't
have
make me play
fun.
with them,
Yeah, don't
but
make
have
me.
fun.
Literally me with all the dolls that I collect. Like people are like, that's great for you. I just don't want to see them. And I'm like, they're lined up on my bed. They want you to say hi. Go say hi to them. Go pet them. But it's true. Like
That
I
to me,
think.
that's cats.
Oh,
So
okay. Okay, there you
yeah,
go. So cats. Yeah, but see, we're not hurting anybody by just following and doing the things that we enjoy that are not
yeah,
harmful. I think
yeah.
everyone could
Like
benefit from that.
I'm not at home right now, so if you can see me, it's not as obvious.
Mm,
And I love color. Each room in my house is a different color.
I love.
Like that is how I get dopamine. I get dopamine by being surrounded by walls with color, with pictures on them that add more color. And like that
Yes.
is kind of one where it's like I am undersensitive to color. Like I
Color.
want
Yeah, me and my
color.
pink room. I love
Yeah.
pink. I love the color pink. I have pink paintings. Yeah, it's what brings us brings us
Happy.
joy. Yeah, it makes us happy. So to wrap up, what is something that you would like to share with my listeners? It doesn't have to be a word of advice. It could be just something you want them to know, a misconception that you'd like to dispel. What is something that people can take away from today's episode and chat with you? I mean, they can take many things, but what's one thing they can take? What would you like them to know? A lot of
The
pressure.
one thing that's coming to me to say right now is
Mm,
that I think that authenticity is where it's at. Like, I think that when we do things for ourselves because it's authentic and we're staying true to who we are, and I don't mean that in a getting so attached to your identity that you're not willing to grow and change.
of course.
I mean that in more of a when we honor ourselves by being true about what we are feeling and thinking, and when we show up authentically, not how we think we should show up,
Mm,
I think we are raising the vibration of the world, if that is something that you believe in. And I think it's when the universe really wants to support that, in my probably biased opinion. So
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Well, that is beautiful. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. This was a lovely chat. Where can people find you and learn more about you? Plug your stuff.
My website is followthedopamine.life. That is a domain, same as like .com or what have you.
I love that. .life.
Yeah, I like it a lot, and because I will follow the dopamine for life now. And I'm on Instagram at followthedopamine.life, Threads at followthedopamine.life. Basically anywhere that I can get the handle followthedopamine.life.
You're on there.
You'll find me that way. Yes.
Love. It will all be in the show notes and the description. Thank you so much for coming on the pod. Thank you.
Absolutely. One last thing that I'll say really quickly, just so people are aware. I do one-on-one work and also group work. So I do free workshops that people can come on to help them with themselves. And I do like 5-week courses, group courses, and what have you. So visit my website and see what all there is that I could do for you.
Follow the Dopamine Life, guys. Check it out. Thank you so much.